5 and Baton Rouge proud. This is Louisiana Go Nation.
Good evening and welcome into this edition of Your Go Nation. I'm Matt Roberts.
And I'm Fred Hickman. Thank you so much for joining us on this Friday evening. We start you right off up top with LSU baseball. The team out in Gainesville, Florida, taking on the 13th ranked Florida Gators, who are still searching for their first SEC win, believe it or not. Game getting underway in, about 30 minutes ago, actually. Alex Lang squaring off against Alex Faedo. Both top 20 draft picks combined to throw just 8 2/3 innings, giving up 12 runs on 9 hits, 9 walks. Hardly ace-like numbers, Matt, for those two. So will tonight be the night when they can both turn things around?
For me, I've never really looked at a pitching matchup, so to speak, because it's kind of two completely different entities. It's like two great quarterbacks like Manning and Brady going up against each other. They can't really think about what the offense is doing in that sense, because they have to focus on how to pick apart the defense. And that's kind of the same mindset when you're going up against another pitcher. You can't worry about what he's doing. You just got to worry about throwing up zeros and let your offense take care of business and trusting in them that they're going to get their job done.
So let's take a look at the score right now. This game has actually just gone to the third. No score in this one. Faedo and Lang both breezing through those lineups the first time around. Alex Lang, a lot of fastballs early on. Going to have to mix in some of that breaking stuff to keep those Florida hitters off balance. We'll have more coming up tonight at 10 o'clock. Well, when freshman Eric Walker takes the mound on Sunday in this series, he'll have the big task of whether it's avoiding a sweep, clinching one, or getting a big series win on the road. But this kid has always performed well under the bright lights, and that's something he's continuing right here at LSU.
Without question, that was a major factor. I've never made any secret about how enamored I am with multi-sport athletes.
Freshman Eric Walker's early success at LSU should not come as a shock, especially when you take one look at his background.
Like I'm doing now, I'm at the field watching UTA play and my brother play, so it was awesome, watching him in high school grow up and, watching him make it to AA right now gives you something to follow after as far as guidance and a role model.
Walker, who comes from a baseball background, excelled at Arlington Martin High School in North Texas, compiling 295 career strikeouts. But this Texas gunslinger was more than just a pitcher.
That's the same thing that goes along with what I've done my whole life, whether it's football, baseball, or playing ping pong with some friends in the backyard. It's just compete. Making
a name for himself under the Friday night lights of 6A Texas high school football, Walker learned lessons he still takes to the mound with him today.
Nothing happens until he gets the ball in his hands. So you have to assume that they have poise and composure, can handle the pressure.
Friday night lights in Texas is unreal if you've never experienced it. But, football is a great sport. Still miss it, still love it. But, doing something out here in Friday, Saturday, Sunday in Baton Rouge is pretty darn close.
That football mentality helps make the 6-foot, 174-pounder a bulldog on the bump.
You hate to compare kids to Hall of Famers, but you just feel a little bit of Greg Maddux when you watch him.
He's played under the lights of Cowboys Stadium, the Big Top at Minute Maid, and Sunday at the Box. So the big stage is something this fabulous freshman thrives on.
All three of those that you just named are pretty incredible, but so there's nothing like putting on some pads, but there's nothing also like seeing people out here cheering you on and just rooting for your success. So, all those atmospheres, like you said, are incredible.
Wow, that kid's got a great delivery. Maddox, not a bad guy to be following after. Anyway, changing gears, the red carpet rolled out for LSU's new head basketball coach. His name is Will Wade, and he came on board this week. Hit the ground running, too, making his rounds to the football facilities in Alec Box Stadium, where his fans greeted him with a big standing ovation. But the excitement Wade's hire is creating comes from his energy and his clear plan for what fans can expect to see from him and his club on the court next season.
On the court, we're going to absolutely empty our tanks every night, all right? When we get done playing, that thing's going to be on E. It's going to be on empty, all right? Offensively, we're going to fly up and down the court. We're going to play fast. We're going to get up and down the court, and we're going to attack the rim. Defensively, it's going to be even more aggressive. We're going to guard every floorboard down. We're going to guard every floorboard for 94 feet. We're going to disrupt other teams' offense with our pressure. No stone will be left unturned in our preparation to make sure we give ourselves the best opportunity to win. Hey, everybody wants to win the SEC. Everybody wants to go to the NCAA tournament. There's only a select few who do that. We got to have the separation by doing all the details, doing all those little things to make it happen.
So he's the replacement for Johnny Jones, but it's going to take a lot more than just high energy and good coaching philosophy. And I understand that he has run for, what is it, 615 straight days?
Yeah,
he goes out for a run every
went to the
single
LSU
day.
Lakes before his press conference. He's a high motor guy, and you see that on the court. Hopefully, we're going to see that at the defensive end.
There you go.
He'll have to recruit heavily some of the top talent in the area, along with some of those guys that are already on his roster. Here's Brian Holland with more.
Yeah, so what is the first order of business for the new head coach? Really simple. Recruiting. In the next few hours, we'll find out a lot about where LSU basketball is headed.
I'm excited to meet with Antonio and talk to him. You know, we want, like I said earlier, I'm a dream maker, so I look forward to visiting with him and seeing where he is.
Even before he got a chance to meet and sit down with Blakeney, he was already recruiting the Tiger star.
I would never tell anybody if they're a first-round NBA draft pick not to go to the NBA. I mean, I think it's a good move. But I also think, you know, if you're not, I think we have a ton to offer. We're going to develop you. We're going to get you better. We're going to put you in a great system. We're going to allow you to play with freedom within a little bit of structure from our ball screens. And I think our program could be very, very good for him.
But that's not the only recruiting he has to catch up. Currently, Will Wade's new backyard has one of the best point guard prospects in the country. Javante Smart at Scotlandville High School is a 5-star prospect for next year. Also keep in mind Josh LeBlanc, a 4-star at Madison Prep, Greg Williams at Lafayette Christian Academy. All should be targets there for Wade, and he says he's not afraid of recruiting one-and-done athletes as well, who would possibly bolt for the NBA after their freshman seasons at LSU.
We're going to recruit the best players we can recruit, the best players that want to come to LSU and be committed to doing what we need to do to make LSU a winner. And we're going to help those guys get to the NBA. You lay it on the line, we're going to develop you, we're going to work with you, and we'll help those guys get where they want to go. At the end of the day, I'm a dream maker. That's their dream to get the NBA. I got to help them get there.
All right, one final order of business for Will Wade will be rounding out that coaching staff, to which he said during his press conference he would take his time and get the lay of the land. If you want to read between the lines like I am, that could mean he's looking for a good Louisiana recruiter to bring on board and help close down those borders of the state, keeping Louisiana kids home here in the Pelican State. For your Go Nation, I'm Brian Holland.
Yeah, Brian talking about closing those Louisiana borders. One guy that's trying to do that, Ed Orgeron. Spring football practice rolling on for the Tigers this weekend, continuing to learn that offensive playbook. A lot of buzz about what this new Matt Canada offense is going to look like. But so far for the players, one of the biggest changes is adjusting to all of the new coaches. Offensive coordinator Matt Canada, assistant coaches Tommy Robinson and Mickey Joseph, all new to the fold at LSU. But in Coach Joe's first full year as head coach, he couldn't be happier with the staff he has surrounding him.
I love my coaching staff. I love coming to work, seeing them every day. I love the meetings. We laugh, we joke, we're serious. You know, I think the best thing I feel good about this coaching staff is that we went out and got some of the best coaches to coach the Tigers. And when I see them coaching, I see them meeting with our young men, I know that we went out and gave them some of the best mentors and coaches that we possibly can. You got to feel good. You're good about that as a coach.
Tigers will now work on fine-tuning Matt Canada's offense leading up to the spring game, but it's going to have to wait until next fall before the fans can actually see what the new coaching staff has in store. In fact, the new feature back in town, Darius Geis, wasn't too keen on giving out any hints at all, but he did say it's not enough to change the coaching staff. It's got to come from within as well.
To be honest, it's still not even about the coaches. It's still about us, you know, having that dog and fighting us mentally. So, you know, a coach can't really make a player, you know, feel the way he feels about the game. The player has to find that within his teammates or himself. You know, coaches can only do so much. I feel like with that, you have to, you know, try to do it yourself. Or you got to find that why inside your own head to where you mentally, you know, strive and go hard on your own. I feel like a coach shouldn't have to do that to make you go hard.
Coming up in the program, we've got the LSU softball team opening up its SEC home slate against the Georgia Bulldogs and the LSU Gymnastics Club. Heading up north for Coach Bro's least favorite meet of the season. Find out why. That's next, but first.
Did you know LSU had to face the Florida Gators 5 times last season? I know Paul Maneri remembers that. The Tigers actually won 3 of those 5, but it was the Gators that got the ultimate defeat. They beat LSU 1-0 in the SEC tournament semifinals. Also, trip to Gainesville in 2014 ended with the Tigers getting swept at McKinney Stadium.
watching Louisiana Go Nation with Fred Hickman, Brian Holland, Taylor Halsey, and Matt Roberts.
Welcome back into your Go Nation. We roll on here tonight. The LSU softball team back in action at Tiger Park after an 8-game stretch on the road and a ranked showdown with Georgia tonight. Yeah, very, very tough. That's right. They have won 5 out of 8 before returning to defeat Nichols in a midweek game this week. The Tigers are now 24-7 on the season. They're 1-2 in the SEC, though, after a tough series loss to Auburn. In action against the Georgia Bulldogs, as we mentioned, right now over at Tiger Park. Bulldogs ranking 5th in the SEC, but LSU looks like the odds are in favor of them with the home crowd there.
It is so nice to be back in Tiger Park. That really is the icing on the cake of this whole trip to Kansas, is that, you know, we're finally back in Tiger Park and we get a pretty good stretch here at home, which is great for so many reasons. To get our team back in a consistent routine, back in the weight room, back at practice, back with our families, all those things, you know, I think are huge. And then, of course, who wouldn't want to play in front of the Tiger fans? So I think, you know, that's a great thing too.
Feels great. The weather feels amazing, nice and warm. So we're excited to be back and to host Georgia this weekend and just kick off the SEC conference play at home.
And right now, that score going on right now, Georgia a 2-0 lead, got 2 runs there in the first inning early on, so LSU going to have to dig out of that hole against the Georgia Bulldogs, ranked 16th in the country. Of course, we'll have an update for you coming up tonight in your Go Nation. The LSU gymnastics team selected as the top seed in the Lincoln, Nebraska regional and the number 2 overall seed in the entire tournament. It's the highest the Tigers have been ranked nationally going into these regional meets.
Boy, Dee Bro's got a great team.
Incredible.
This phase of the competition, though, may appear to be a cakewalk on its face for the Tigers, who are averaging 197 points or better in every competition this year. But it may be a little tougher than you think. Here's Taylor Halsey.
You know, they say every day the pride and the tradition of the LSU Tigers will not be entrusted to the weak or the timid.
In Dee Bro's 40th season as head coach of the LSU gymnastics team, the Tigers went unbeaten at home, won a regular season title, and won their first SEC championship since 1981.
Amazing things. You know, we finished second a lot of times and just felt like we'd been denied, and this team was not going to be denied.
Was singing on the plane ride back. That's no secret, but I think that we all know that it's time to get back to business. SEC championship was a goal and it was a check mark, and once we did it, we know that we have further to go and we have more business to take care of, so I think that's going to be our mindset as we continue forward.
Now LSU's first national championship title is within striking distance, but the first step, winning the Lincoln, Nebraska regional.
There's a real sense of urgency in this meet. It's probably the meet that everybody dislikes the most, you know, because it's the one that makes you or breaks you.
The team will take advantage of this week off to rest some lingering injuries, and then it's full steam ahead.
I think having a week off is going to be good for the whole team because we have some nagging issues and some aches and pains here and there that I think we can get rid of with a little bit of a lighter week and then start back strong next week.
Ashley Nat, you know, we're really protecting kind of her calf, her back of her leg, and really backing off on her. This week will be really good for her, a real recovering week.
The Tigers will open on bars and finish on vault, a good place to be when Ashley Nat is your anchor.
And guess what? The score's in. It's a 10.
This entire season has been a great body of work so far, so we're obviously excited to head further into the postseason. It's been such a great year, and we're just excited to continue, and we're ready for more.
If it is to be, it'll happen.
And on the heels of Nat's third perfect 10, the LSU gymnastics team will travel 1,000 miles to compete for Dee Bro's 17th regional title. Reporting from the LSU gymnastics facility, I'm Taylor Halsey with your Go Nation.
Well, coming up after the break, maybe you've been selecting your bracket winners wrong all this time. I have.
Certainly, I need some kind of help.
And later in your Go Nation, we play a little game called Who You Got, talking Sweet 16. And then some.
And before you go, in program history, the first SEC home game for the LSU softball team has been good to them. They've won 15 of their last 20 home conference openers, and coming into this year, Tigers have won 4 of their last 5 at Tiger Park.
You're watching Louisiana Go Nation.
Hey there, welcome back into your Go Nation. Well, if you're like most of the field out there who had their March Madness bracket busted early on, I'm so bad at those, Fred. I never do those well.
Here's mine.
Yeah.
Apparently, looking at stats, betting lines, and analytics aren't necessarily the way to go.
Never works.
Just have an infant. Make them for you. It works out better.
Okay.
The camera is not Marcus's forte, and you never guess what is. Here's a hint. Take a look at his shoes. Yes, the 1-year-old is wearing Air Jordans. He can't play like Mike yet, but he can sure pick 'em like 'em.
Marcus over here is doing quite well.
Now this is some serious March Madness for you. While many grown-ups were scratching their heads and going quite mad filling out their basketball brackets, Marcus and his friends calmly sat around their toddler table at Bethlehem Lutheran Child Care in Germantown and made their picks.
We held up numbers like 1 versus 8.
There we go. Number 8. Good job.
And we had them go through the numbers and pick which one they wanted.
And here's the results.
Some of them are actually doing better than us as teachers.
9 still have a team in the Final Four.
Oh, this one's completely intact, which is, I think, better than all the teachers.
Marcus is standing out.
Marcus has North Carolina winning it all, which is a pretty solid pick, I'd say.
Now, if we could just get him to smile for the camera. In Germantown, Mike Anderson, WISN 12 News.
I want a nap. Up next, we play your favorite game. Who you got? Talking about who should back up Drew Brees next season and more.
And the odds of filling out a perfect bracket, this makes me feel a little bit better. 1 in a quintillion. My public school education didn't tell me about that, but you actually have better odds at winning the Powerball lottery. And once have all 4 seeds advancing to the Final Four. That happened back in 2008.
You're watching Louisiana Go Nation.
Welcome into your final segment of Go Nation. It's time to play our favorite game, Who You Got. And we start with a lightning rod. That would be John Football Manziel. Johnny Football, would it be a good idea for the Saints to bring him around?
Let me make this short and sweet. No. Johnny Manziel, party guy. We all know that. Loves the paparazzi and all that thing. You turn this guy loose in Bourbon Street, and following a guy who is squeaky clean,
right?
You know, and Drew Brees. There's no way that's a thing.
Yeah, I agree. Maybe he comes to mini camp, but the time it would take to mentor him and bring him along, you might as well get a quarterback in the draft this year, develop him, and have him as the actual future. Johnny Manziel is not the future of the New Orleans Saints.
And don't forget, he went to the Manning's camp and blew that off.
Overslept.
So, easy.
All right, we're moving on to the World Baseball Classic. Fred, what did you think of this year's Classic?
Team USA won it. I loved it. I think this is the 6th time or something like that that the U.S. has participated. It was great. They played the championship against Puerto Rico in Los Angeles. Fantastic. I would have rather have seen it in Miami. Because I just think with the whole Latino influence that's involved with the Dominican and Puerto Rico and all that. But I think it's a great event.
Yeah, I loved it. I think nothing unites our country quite like sports does. And seeing them, hoist the trophy in the red, white, and blue and talk about playing for the servicemen, that was really cool to see America win it. Good for American baseball,
and it gets you ready for another Cubs championship.
You can't get away from them now. Well, we're moving on to the NCAA tournament. We talked about our terrible brackets earlier. Fred, what is your storyline in the Sweet 16 this week?
UCLA, Kentucky. I think UCLA can walk away with the win in this one. I'm dying to see Lonzo Ball out there. A dear friend of mine I went to college with, lives in Los Angeles, has seen him and his 2 little brothers play. Says he's the real deal. So I'm looking forward to it.
Well, I'm dying to see his dad be quiet for a little while. And I've got the Baylor Bears going all the way to the Final Four, getting both wins in the Sweet 16. They're taking on South Carolina tonight. So they'd have to beat South Carolina and then Wisconsin or Florida. But I got the Bears going to the Final Four, and going along with your prediction, we'll not have an SEC team in the Final Four.
Wow.
So we'll wait to see how all of that winds up tonight. The Bears, they played good all year long, but kind of stumbled down the stretch getting into the tournament. But they've certainly showed Scott Drew, he's got that team consistently in the Elite 8, playing for a chance in the Final Four. So it should be interesting this weekend for sure. And wanted to quickly update you, that big game going on, LSU and Florida in Gainesville right now, tied at 0-0 like you would expect when 2 top 20 MLB prospects are throwing in that game.
Well, my bracket's busted as far as basketball is concerned, but if you want to put a couple of apples on the line with this Baylor thing.
We may have to discuss that after the show. Friendly, obviously.
I might be convinced.
All right. Well, we'll have much more for you tonight in your Go Nation, and much more next week. But until then, that'll do it for us tonight. Have a good one.
So long.